Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my sweaty mess again today. I was like, but today's topic is just going to be around the bloodlust for punishment I think that Americans have intrinsically. So let's just get into it. Just in short, I feel like America literally hates poor people. For a nation that claims to be founded on Christian morals and ethics, it is unbelievable how unusually cruel and how much poverty is actually criminalized in this nation. To the point where in DC now they're literally wrapping up homeless people. And then here it is. They're like, well, if we don't have housing in DC, which we know we don't have housing in DC because there's a homeless housing crisis that's been going on forever. So you're basically saying to these people that they either have to be voluntarily committed to a mental health institution, which we also don't have enough of, or they're going to have to be arrested. So is this our solution to end homelessness? To arrest and put in an asylum people who've committed no other crime but being poor? And again, what does your faith say about that? What does Jesus, what does Muhammad, what do the prophets in the Old Testament have to say about the poor and how we treat them? It is like literally insane that we have, and the church is doing nothing about it, but I digress. But this bloodlust we have in America, let's look at it. I think over a third of our population has been arrested, right? That's crazy. That we literally, as America, we have one of the less densely populated populations in the world. We don't have one of the world's largest. However, we have the world's largest prison population, both in percentage and in number. We are overly criminalizing people right now. What does that say? I mean, one would think that, okay, Americans are just inherently and innately more criminal than other people. Is that what we're saying right now? And we know that that's not true. But what we have is an insane desire and lust to criminalize people at every turn. And what is wrong with us? You know what I'm saying? That, to me, that's an indictment upon us in our society and not the criminality of people, because it makes money, right? So especially in the case of homelessness, because I am uniquely qualified to talk about this. I directed youth homeless programs for over 15 years. I've worked in servicing people experiencing homelessness, adult homelessness, for over 5 years. So I've got probably 20 years of experience in this. And most people experiencing homelessness are not mentally ill. Most work full-time jobs. And many of the solutions that have been proven to work through time and trial, effort, and study are far less expensive than putting people in asylums and imprisoning them, right? It should be pretty common sense if we could see how it's like preventative care for medication versus going to the emergency room. It's obvious that there's so much more ability to have preventative care and to provide these services as needed. There's so many creative ideas to provide housing that people need and all these things, but we just choose not to do it. We're making a choice as a society that is actually the more cruel choice, the choice that has nothing to do with any of our faith and religion, the choice that is far more expensive, and the choice that does not actually resolve the problem on a long-term basis, right? So you're just locking people up, separating families at an indefinite cost. And then let's not even get into the situation about if they should ever get out of jail, because we all know there's really no rehabilitation programs. They're cutting off all resources. They're trying to make people with felonies or arrest records unhireable. And it actually causes them to be homeless, because a lot of buildings will not rent to place people that have criminal records. So it's like a repeating record that creates itself. And we are making a decision as a society that we want to be a punitive society. We want to be a society that penalizes and kicks people when they're down indefinitely and forever. And we're not going to invest in things that actually work. It's like we're crazy here. It's literally the same thing with immigration. Obama, during his time in office, what I'm saying, and he had more liberal immigration policies that was known to be better. He actually, per month, deported more people than Trump. With all this alligator Alcatraz, all this money going to ICE, the cruelty, the showing up in courts, the theater that they're going on, that is far more expensive and actually less effective if your goal is deporting people. Sorry, it's my alarm. But yeah, so it's like, to me, it's like cruelty is actually the point. It's not about the issue. Because if you wanted to solve the issue, you would actually go about it in much more different and ways that have been proven to be far more impactful and effective. So, but I think we need to really look inside ourselves and see what is it about us in this nation that just loves to punish people, loves to kick people when they're down, and loves to keep them down indefinitely so that they won't be able to really lift themselves up. So ask yourself that question, and are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? I especially ask my communities of color because I know a lot of people talking about, well, oh, Trump had released a couple people from jail and Trump did some stuff. What do you think is going to happen with this disproportionate shit, right? If the National Guard is going around, what neighborhoods do you think they're going around? Look at New York and stop and frisk. What communities were adversely impacted from this? Ironically, of course, you want to stop crime, but of course, you're just so happen to go and profile all the black and brown people. Like, that's what's going to happen. More of us are going to be in jail, and you know they don't care if they make a mistake. They could falsely imprison somebody. They could just say that you were homeless. How are you going to prove that you're not? After a month in jail, after you lose your job, after all that shit, you finally prove that you're not a criminal, and then what? Then you still have an arrest on your record, a falsehood. Then you got to get an attorney to get all that. Like, think about it. Like, this is literally an attack 100%. And we just have to get out of it and stop thinking people are criminals in nature and just think that maybe people have performed criminal acts. And if we separate the person from the action, we can actually have a solution that has a person being whole again. Because we all know people commit crimes mostly because they're poor. You see how that cycle goes? You commit crimes because you're poor and desperate. You're homeless because you don't have anything. Therefore, you want to try and commit crimes again. You see the cycle? So like, they don't want to end it in any way. They just want to add punishment at every single level so you'll never be able to get out of it. So let's stop being tools and actually start advocating for the homeless, advocating for housing. Because guess what? Advocating for suitable housing for them will raise all levels. You know, the rising tide raises all ships. So until next time.